Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Hump Day edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Scott Reichel. Scott, and take a look at some college basketball today. Not the best card in the world. Are you loving this?
Well, you know that I've been very, very into obscure college basketball games, and even I had a hard time finding a play on this one. I was looking for a play last night, maybe the replay, exact deja vu of Brian St. Francis over again, because they play each other for the second straight night. But the bookmakers were scared, and they didn't upload a line until about, 6 a.m. this morning. So
Right.
at that point, ship already sailed. But, yeah, really not that many great games. I was looking forward to Virginia, Michigan State. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and they had to postpone that game. So we are stuck with basically a couple of ranked teams playing unranked teams and just hoping that they're competitive.
Yeah, we got a decent day yesterday. We both of you and I hit our plays of the day.
I went 3-1. The one loss on the Creighton missed free throw. So
Yeah,
it was very, very close. But and for those three games, we kind of – I know we were wrong on the Kansas game. But other than that, though, the Illinois game we destroyed, the Iowa game we destroyed, really just a good day overall.
Yeah, not too shabby, at all.
By the way, do you think it's a coincidence that Duke loses at home to Illinois and now Coach K is questioning whether or not the season should be played?
Weird he didn't say anything before the game yesterday, isn't it?
Very weird. You know, I have a hunch that had they won the game, he would have said the exact same thing, don't you think?
Probably true. Then there is part of me that wonders, exactly why we're playing basketball right now. But, the thing is,
I have to bet on Bellarmine College against Howard. You don't understand. I have to do it.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency. I mean, it seems like they canceled everything when the pandemic wasn't nearly as bad as it is right now.
So let me ask, though, what has less consistency, the NCAA with COVID or the NCAA selection committee?
Well, if being inconsistent is a consistency, then I'd have to say with COVID.
Probably. I'm just saying that maybe not the selection committee because that involves the basketball. I meant the playoff committee. Sorry. But either way, yeah, it's been, every single year I feel like we have a conversation where everyone needs to be refreshed on just how incompetent and how unclear the NCAA is with any of its procedures. And yet, nobody bats an eye. Yeah. And now as soon as somebody challenges the NCAA, people think that they are losing their mind. And then you remember every year, oh, wait, no, these guys are lunatics. The NCAA really has no idea what they're doing. All right, that makes sense, I guess.
As long as they can get the same four teams in the football playoff system, it seems like that's what they want to do.
It has to be the same four teams, though, no matter how many times they lose. It's just you got to keep it consistent.
Or how many games they don't play.
Correct.
They're talking about, putting Ohio State in there with 4 or 5 wins.
Fun times.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I do. The Big Ten's going to bend the rules in what Ohio State play in the conference title game. It's going to happen.
They are.
So I'm not expecting much. I expect the 4 teams that we basically have now. The only thing that's left to be decided is if Clemson beats Notre Dame or not. That's really the only thing that's left to be decided, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, they're talking about putting them both in.
No, but the point is that if Clemson loses, there's no way they're going. There's no way they're going. No, that's the point. What I'm saying is that if Notre Dame loses to Clemson in the rematch, they both should get in. I'm just saying that if Clemson does lose, then you should have a new face.
Yeah. So
that's the only hope I really see because I don't see Ohio State losing.
That's going to be unlikely.
So who's Ohio State going to play? Northwestern? Sure. The team that lost to Michigan State's going to beat Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Bama's losing, but I think we both agree on that one.
Bama's not losing. No.
Yeah. So you're looking at Clemson, Notre Dame as the only hope for a team that can fall out of the top 4.
I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. SEC title game, Alabama and Florida. I like the over.
That's a hot take. Over under set at 92.
Yeah. That Florida team, man, they just don't play defense.
Not at all.
They're not good. And, they're going to be able to move the ball against Alabama. But
do you think whoever wins that game gets the Heisman?
If they have a fantastic standout game, yeah, I think that's
Assuming they both have good games. You just think whoever wins the game gets the nod?
I don't know. Do you think Lawrence is out of the picture?
Yeah.
If Lawrence blows up against Notre Dame?
Doesn't matter.
I
don't think it matters. I don't even think Lawrence looked that good against Virginia Tech last weekend. I know Fields is out of it. I mean, that's not even a discussion. It's a two-person race. It's between Trask and Jones. I personally think whoever wins the game is going to get the Heisman. But I would vote for Trask right now if I had to vote.
I think Lawrence might surprise you. I don't think Lawrence is dead yet.
I think he is, but we'll see.
Okay. So we're going to do what we can. We're going to try to come up with a combination of good teams playing and bets that we really like that we haven't taken already. Because of course I have 2 premium plays. I've got a play of the day.
I did a UFC video, so I'm in the clear.
You did a UFC video.
Well, people were getting on my case on Twitter because I was doing UFC videos every week, and then people were asking me, "Where's the UFC video?" I'm like, "I've won all these college basketball." They're like, "No, we want UFC." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll give you some UFC."
Okay, one guy sitting in his basement in West Virginia does not count as clamoring for your UFC picks.
But the point is that the attention was there. People noticed, and I give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about your alma mater. Because my alma mater, I have a play on already. My alma mater actually plays today as well, but I have a play on them. Your Wisconsin Badgers taking on the Rhode Island Reds or whatever they are. What are they?
The Rams.
The Rams. That's right. Wisconsin 10.5-point favorite here, Scott. Rhode Island catching some points on the road. 135.5 is your total. How about your Badgers, buddy?
Well, Rhode Island so far this season has been my kryptonite, as I like the over in their Boston College game. That's the only under basically that they've had besides the Seton Hall game they played last. And I also linked to San Francisco, and they got smacked against Rhode Island. So I haven't had a good read on Rhode Island. But Wisconsin, I had a play that on them against Marquette, and they can't box out in a free throw. So Wisconsin, it's the same team every year. They're a very good defensive team. They bore you to death, and they try to outscore you by first to 60 mentality. That's kind of how they run things. Wisconsin's averaging 79 points per game this season. Means absolutely nothing. They scored 92 against Pine Bluff and 82 against Green Bay. Congratulations. He scored 65 against Marquette. This team offensively is not very good. Rebounding-wise, they are pretty good, which is a change of pace because of the fact that they have Reavers and Potter, who are both very solid on the interior, which I think is going to be a problem for Rhode Island because Rhode Island isn't exactly built on the interior. They're more of a guard-oriented team. Having said all that, I know Brad Davidson is, I guess, a good on-ball defender, even though all he does is flop for charges. But I don't think anyone in Wisconsin can guard Fats Russell. I think Russell is just more athletic than everyone else on the court for Wisconsin's backcourt. I think he should have a solid game. The issue you have is if anybody else can step up, because Wisconsin, from a team defense perspective, is very good at preventing one guy from going off. The question is if Shepard can do well, Walker, all those guys. I think they will. I think it's very, very important when your top 3 scorers on the team are all shooting over 88% from the foul line. I think that's a big deal because if you're going to get to the line, you can capitalize on those. I think that's definitely going to help you cover. I know Wisconsin was supposed to play Louisville in this game. That didn't happen because Louisville got COVID. But looking at this matchup here, I'm going to take the 11 with Rhode Island because I think Wisconsin's good, but I don't think they're great. And I do think Rhode Island will hang around more than people anticipate.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about here is and you kind of touched on it, is the unexpected nature of this game where Rhode Island just got the call on Monday. I think
that kind of benefits the underdog, though, don't you think? Because you're having a team that pretty much had no time to scout the opponent, and they're laying 11.
Well, from that standpoint, yes. However, when you're talking about the travel involved and the uncertainty and everything like that, I think that kind of equals itself out. But, this is a Rhode Island team. They can put points on the board, man. They struggled against the pretty good defense there with Boston College, but everybody else they played, they put some serious points on the board, and they played some decent teams. They played Arizona State, scored 88 against Arizona State, covered the number.
Scored 70-something plus against Seton Hall.
76 against Seton Hall, 84 against San Francisco. Of course, San Francisco was the flavor of the month there when they had an upset. But You know what? Yeah, I'm with you. They've covered 4 out of 5 times.
I think Wisconsin's going to win. I just don't think it'll be by 12 or more.
Yeah, they haven't been great at covering big numbers. Of course, they played 2 terrible teams in Eastern Illinois and Arkansas Pine Bluff. But the game that I kind of look at is playing against a pretty run-of-the-mill Marquette team, where they were 3.5-point dogs and ended up losing the game outright.
Well, you mean they were 3.5-point favorites and lost the game?
3.5-point favorites. Sorry about that. Yeah. So 3.5-point favorites and lost the game out.
I mean, I gave that out because Marquette lost Howard. They lost their top 2 scorers, and I just figured Wisconsin, with everyone back, would at least handle Marquette for once, and they can't score. It's just what it is. They just can't score the ball. So I think that Rhode Island defensively is inconsistent. They have flashes where they look good defensively, but it's not really sustainable for a full 40. But Wisconsin's offense, I think, is so mediocre that it'll kind of balance out. I think Wisconsin probably wins by 7.
Yeah, I've always look at the team that's got the best player on the court.
Yeah, and I do think that Fats Russell is the best player on the court.
No question about it. Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think that 10.5 is too tall. I'm with you. I think this game should be somewhere in the 6.5, 7 range. So yeah, I think we're both on the points and the Rhode Island Rams right here in this one. Scott, where is Bellarmine? Do you know anything about him?
Used to. I know that I backed them to win their first D1 game in the history of the program.
Yeah.
Where they located? I have no idea.
Louisville, Kentucky, Scott.
Nice. I actually didn't even know that, but it didn't matter because they beat Howard. That's all that matters. As long as they showed up at the stadium at the right time and they won, that's all I cared about, and that's what happened.
And do you know their nickname?
I actually did know this. Bellarmine. I knew this. Oh, damn it. It's not the Cougars, but I'm drawing a blank. I'm not going to stall.
It's the Knights.
That's right. I forgot I looked that up. Yeah.
The Bellarmine Knights. So,
either way, yeah. So as you can tell, I didn't know where they were located. I forgot the mascot, but I did know that they would beat Howard by 2, and they beat them by 20-something. So that's all that matters. Right?
Very good. Yeah,
they could be playing the game on Mars. I don't care, as long as you cover the spread.
That's outstanding. Now, Scott, we talked about a little bit off air about this because we were kind of struggling with what we were going to talk about today on this one because there's a lot of.
Well, we showed up and then we realized, wait a second, there's no sports that are really
right.
Worth talking about besides some college basketball games that I'm entertained by, but a lot of people might not be.
We talked about a couple of these teams maybe time to buy low, and because you and I talked about it on air yesterday about that being laying 44 was too much with Mississippi Valley State. It's just gotten to a ridiculous point. And now we've got an Arkansas Pine Bluff team, which is like a bottom 7 team in the country.
Oh, I didn't even realize we're pulling this game out. Okay, I didn't realize we're.
I just wanted to put it out there. We're not going to make an official play, although I'll make an official play. I think it's time to buy low on Pine Bluff against a really bad Arkansas State team.
See, the thing is, you look at both teams just by name, and you think, how do the Red Wolves not beat this team by like 20?
Right.
Then you look at the Red Wolves.
Yes.
And you realize this team might be as bad as Evansville was last year for the last 2-3 months.
They're not good.
They're awful.
They're not good at all. I don't think I'm not sure there's anybody in the country they should be 12.5-point favorites over. The
only thing that I know is that when money's coming in on Pine Bluff, you got to reevaluate your college basketball program. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they're a team that is not played well. They've lost to Marshall. They've lost to Morehouse by 8. That's
Morehead, you mean? But yeah,
or Morehead. Sorry, not Morehouse. And of course, then lost to Memphis by 29. No shame in that. Although Memphis not quite as strong as they have been.
Memphis is still good though.
They're all right. Yeah,
they're fine. They'll probably be a fringe tournament or bubble team. That's what they'll be.
That's about right. So yeah, this is something I would consider if you're it depends on what kind of a junkie you are. If you like playing those down card plays, it may not be a bad time to buy low on Pine Bluff. But then
I'm also taking the night off from college basketball just in general. There's a couple games that I'm looking at where I'm thinking about maybe throwing a sprinkle in, maybe a money line parlay or two, but there's a lot of games nothing jumps off the page for me.
I had 3 games I really liked, and I put them out as official plays. So, All right, so let's talk about another battle there between two pretty good teams. The Indiana Hoosiers taking on the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State, 3.5-point favorites here. A little value on Indiana, Scott?
I personally think there is. I know that Florida State has been a very underrated basketball program for the last couple of years. You know Florida State's a basketball school now?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know they're not a football school.
Definitely true. Hamilton's done a great job with that program, especially with recruiting. They seem to bring in a ton of big men who just rebound the ball really well. They play great defense. They bully you on the inside, and they can run up the score on you if you're not careful. So Florida State's done that so far. Having said that, they played one game. It was on December 2nd, and they beat North Florida, who was awful, by 28 points, which, good for you. You beat North Florida. Meanwhile, Indiana's played in 4 games. They ended up beating Providence by 21. They got killed by Texas in a game they shot below 25% from the floor. I had money in Indiana in that game. Fun times. And they also beat Stanford by 16. All 3 of those games were in neutrals. I actually like Indiana here because I think that there is some value on teams that have actually played multiple games.
Yeah.
And Florida State lost a ton of talent from last year's team. If you want to go through the line on who they had, hell, they even had a top 5 pick in the draft who came off the bench, and Patrick Williams, who was a very solid player for them, and he's not there anymore. But you look at Williams, he's gone. Vassal's gone. They really just don't have much left. They also don't have Trent Forrest as well. Lost a ton of talent from last year's team. Indiana, I know that they haven't really done much in terms of tournament success over the last couple of years. I've always been a huge Archie Miller guy as a head coach. I loved him at Dayton. I think he's a very good basketball coach. And I think that if you're looking at Florida State, who tends to rely heavily on the crowd for energy, you don't have any fans in attendance, or if you do, you have minimal amounts. I think Indiana's getting points here is a little bit off in terms of the line. I think Indiana might win the game. So I like Indiana plus the points.
Yeah, I think these are two teams that are pretty evenly matched. I do like the experience factor, the fact that Indiana's played 4 games. And they played against tough competition, Scott. They haven't played they've got just one walkover.
No, and Texas gave Villanova a run for their money. So Texas is definitely a top 25 team. They got killed, but the fact that they've actually played against a team of that caliber might help them in this situation.
Well, and they've got nice big wins over 2, decent teams in Providence and Stanford.
Oh, Stanford's okay. Providence is supposed to have a down year, but anytime you have an Ed Cooley team, I still think that they always are a threat.
That's what I'm saying. They beat them by 20.
They're better than North Florida. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, that's a shame about North Florida too, because they were a nice team for us last year.
They kicked my ass the other day on a play that I faded them, but still, I know that one thing we talked about for the Rhode Island game is the fact that you like to have the best player on the court. I think Jackson Davis might be the best player on the court for Indiana. He's averaging, against decent competition, he's averaging 21.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, also shooting over 50% from the floor.
Yeah.
Very solid player. And I think he will give Florida State's inexperienced team some problems.
I'm with you. I like the points when you're looking at 2 teams like that are relatively evenly matched. Give me the points every time, especially with no real home field advantage here.
Yeah.
Home court advantage. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'll go with you. I'll take the Hoosier Daddies right there.
Cool.
Looks like a dog. It's like a dog day afternoon, Scott.
It makes sense because we were kind of laying some wood yesterday.
Well, we're going to lay some wood with this one. Probably I don't know if they're the best team in the country right now. I think they are. It's the Baylor Bears.
Well, we'll call, for the sake of argument, they're 1A, 1B.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because we didn't get to prove it on the court last Saturday, which was probably the biggest.
That game didn't get canceled though. That game got postponed, so they will be making that game up at some point, which is just a joy for me. I was hoping they wouldn't just void it entirely.
Has that been the biggest COVID disappointment so far?
It has to be. You had 1 versus 2.
I think so. Yeah.
If you have 1 versus 2, I don't know. I don't even know what mathematically can beat that.
Well, no, I'm just thinking in different sports.
I think it has to be.
Yeah, for me it is. That's the one I was looking forward to.
I know you can argue, well, what about some of these games between Bama and they're making up all these games. It's not like you're going to be missing out on an opportunity. And you can say, oh, no, they had to postpone Alabama LSU for 3 weeks. Yeah, how'd that work out? No, college football so far this season has been so lopsided that you really only have a handful of games between these top teams that have been really competitive. I mean, Bama hasn't had a competitive game. Clemson did. But look at some of these other teams.
Without their quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. It's just blowout fashion for all these teams, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it has to be Baylor Gonzaga.
Agreed. All right, so let's take a look at Baylor. Baylor's squaring off with Stephen F. Austin, Scott.
How about this total move, though? This line has just been flying to the under. It opened up at 152. It's down to 146. 6-point move on the under.
I've still got it at 147 juiced.
Just saying, though, it opened up at 152.
Yeah, it's now 147. The spread on this one's 23.5. Anything to like about this Stephen F. Austin team? Any reason to think they put up some resistance here?
Well, the only reason why you'd feel that way is because of the fact that they have always been a very underrated team that gets no respect out of the Southland Conference, even though they absolutely just smack opponents. Short answer, no. I think Baylor's too good. I think Baylor, even though this is definitely not a game they've circled on their calendars, and even though SF Austin ended up upsetting Duke last year, I will acknowledge the fact that I think Baylor is pretty pissed off they had to cancel a game over the weekend. And I do think that Baylor will be hungry to just get back on the court. I know if you look at who they they do play Texas in their next game. So you do have a potential look-ahead spot there.
Right.
That game's also 4 days away. That game's on the 13th. So you have a lot of time in between both. I think that the game getting canceled against Gonzaga is just going to cause Baylor to be really pissed off because they really just want to play. I personally think they're going to lay the wood here. I think SF Austin, if they're going to cover, might be through the back door. But this Baylor team is so good. I mean, this team is just next level stuff. I guess I'd probably lean to the under because you have seen 6 points of line movement there. You might have missed value there. But I do find it fascinating that both teams are averaging over 93 points per game, and you've seen an under move of 6 points.
I don't see it.
I don't either. But that's the point, though. I don't know where all this under money's coming from.
I don't either. I would like to know, and I should probably do some investigation into that and see where I can figure out where the money's coming from, because I'm thinking about fading that move. I really am.
Well, if you're going to, it makes sense because you already got 6 points of added value in your pocket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a team. Stephen F. Austin is a team that's scored at least 86 in all their games. Now, granted, they haven't played fantastic competition. They played McNeese State, and they've played La Turna, which I don't even know what that is.
That's not a D1 team, so that's all that matters.
Definitely not a D1 team. They played LSU Alexandria, which is actually an NAIA team. I saw them play a few years ago when my daughter's school was in the tournament here in Kansas City.
Okay.
So yeah, they haven't played any kind of level of competition anywhere near what this Baylor team is. But surely, if you've got a situation there, you got a team that plays fast, you got a team that shoots a lot of threes. Surely they can put up 50 to 60 against Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning under based on the move, but I didn't see it personally. I'm not going to touch this game because I'm really more just curious about SF Austin. Like, if you're going to watch this game, you already know how good Baylor is. I mean, you saw them against Illinois. Right. If you're going to watch this game, you're just trying to see if SF Austin could potentially upset a team in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Because last year, I think they would have. I think last year this team was very good. They lost a lot of talent from that team, which is pretty upsetting because I really think SF Austin could have made it maybe to a round of 32, something like that. I think they would have surprised the team. But,
I think it would have been pulled a 13 seed, a 14 seed, something like that.
Yeah, and they would have upset somebody. I really think they would have, but unfortunately, we'll never know.
No.
I think SF Austin's going to win the Southland again because, they always do. This team has owned the conference in the last couple of years. I guess I'm leaning Baylor, but I'm really just not thrilled about it.
I'm with you. And you and I split on this total.
We kind of agree because I don't know where the steam's coming in on the under. I'm just going to back it because I think it's so questionable that I think somebody knows something.
And it's going to – you say you've got it at 146?
I see 146.5, 147 or so. I'm not touching this game, but I know you're looking at the over.
Yeah, I'm a sucker. I guess they're just counting on Baylor to just shut this team down.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they gave up 69 to Illinois, 52 to Washington. They're expecting SF Austin to probably finish around 60. Having said all that, Baylor could score 90.
I will say this: if you're going to play the under, and I don't often say this,
First half under.
I was going to say take Baylor to cover.
Oh, okay, that too.
And that's kind of threading the needle. I always, you certainly go broke taking big spreads and unders. But I think that's a case where if you like one or the other, well, I don't necessarily think. Well, no, take that back. If you like the under, I think you couple it with Baylor to cover.
Okay, that's fair.
I just think that they're looking for this game for Stephen F. Austin to be scoring somewhere in the 40s or 50s, which should give Baylor, plenty of room to get that cover. So, all right, very good. Anything else on the board get you excited?
For the board, no. I am keeping tabs on that Pepperdine, California game going on at 9:00. We've been talking about questionable line movement off the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get this one. Money keeps coming in on California. I think California's terrible.
Dreadful team.
And I've seen Pepperdine play. They lost in triple overtime to UCLA. Now, is UCLA great this year? No. But they're still a decent Pac-12 team. They were the preseason favorites.
California.
They were the preseason favorites to win the Pac-12. And they took them to triple overtime. And then Pepperdine went on the road against San Diego State, and they were up double digits at halftime. They lost the game, but they covered. They lost by 5. So now they play a California team in Pepperdine. I don't really know where this California money's coming in. I don't really get it, but I'm gonna wait it out and try to see where this line can go. But I might pull the trigger on that one. But we'll see.
They lose by 20 to UCLA. They lose to Oregon State. Seems
bad. California's a terrible team. Like Pepperdine at least has something. They have 2 really good players who I think are actually worth something in Ross and Edwards, who I do think can give California problems. So I probably look at Pepperdine, but I'm going to really wait this one out because I'm curious how low this line's going to go. But other than that, though, quick side note, quick shout out to the, I'd say the biggest fail of yesterday, Kansas State.
Oh my God!
Congratulations, you lost by double digits to an 0-3 D2 team. I'm proud of you.
A game. Was there even a line on that?
No. But my first play of the season, I gave out Drake plus the points against Kansas State because I said publicly Kansas State is awful and they might win 7 games. They might not even reach 7 games. They lost by double digits to an 0-3 D2 team.
Now, I will say, being in this area,
do you think Weber gets fired?
Or
do you think he's untouchable at this point?
He's not untouchable.
At some point, you got to look at the line and just say, these past 2 years, this isn't Kansas State basketball.
Well, it depends on how these recruits start rounding into form because he's lost all of his guys.
Yeah, he did. He lost everybody. Even last year's guys who weren't really that good.
He's got the one kid back, and that's the point guard.
Yeah, they lost 3 of their top 4 scorers from last year.
Yeah, and Jara transferred. So, it's gonna be all about what these recruits start looking like by the end of the season. If he has a dreadful Big 12 season, they're going to finish last in the Big 12. Probably. Again, they finished last year. I don't know how they're supposed to suddenly be more competitive when they lost all their good players from last year also. Well, because you have new recruits and you want to and they haven't looked too good so far, so we'll see. Well, that's the thing. If they don't start rounding into shape, I think he gets one more year just based on his past success. Very, very thin ice. It's tough to really put the hammer down on somebody in a COVID season. I know. I'm just throwing it out there. I think we had to mention that because that is such a. Oh, that's all. Yeah, horrific. When I saw that score, I'm like, I didn't even talk to my son about it. I was trying to find a live line on Fort, and I couldn't find it. Fort A State. Yeah, I was trying to find a line because I knew Kansas State wasn't coming back. They're actually a good D2 program. I know they were 0-3 on the season. They're usually pretty good in D2, but I'm just saying they were 0-3 with all 3 losses coming to D2 teams. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that's probably the worst basketball loss in the history of Kansas State's basketball program. I'm not saying a lot because it's been around for a while, but they lost by double digits. Yeah, they got blown out at home.
That's bad.
Is it the worst loss of the season so far for a D1 team, you think?
Not even close.
Yeah, I agree.
That might be the worst loss of the year, and it's still in the middle of December.
Yeah, it is terrible. So
because you can lose a game, but if you lose by one or a tip in, whatever, it's still terrible. But you got blown out from start to finish. You trailed basically for 38 minutes.
Yeah, run out of the building.
Like, that is bad. But anyway, I thought that was worth talking about.
All right, good enough. Well,
I'm taking it easy tonight, and I'll be watching some games.
Yeah, like I said, not our most exciting night. We kind of missed football.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow. We got some college football games. We got regular football. I don't think we're going to be doing a college basketball show because there's only one ranked matchup there.
Yep.
So we'll probably only stick to college football and NFL, but hopefully the games turn out to be pretty good.
I would like to say, holy shit, what a bad college football card for tomorrow night.
I'm kind of excited about it because of how bad it is.
You getting up for that FAU Southern Miss game?
I mean, when the over-under on the in-play is going to be at 25, I don't know how I'm not supposed to be excited for it. I don't know. Southern Miss, they're one of those teams that you look at and they probably should have just waved the white flag in the season 3 months ago. I know that you have players on scholarship, but at some point, you could pull a Florida State and fake a COVID outbreak.
Well, it's like I said, we have plenty to talk about tomorrow with that one. So. But for tonight, we got some college basketball action. We gave you a couple of our picks, a couple of our leans, a couple of things that we're thinking here. Yeah, it's one of those nights where maybe you end up spending some time with the family.
You can do that? People do that?
What?
Damn lunatics. Okay, no. I was going to say it's a kind of night where you kick back on the couch with a beer and just talk to nobody for a couple hours. But, yeah, that works too. Same idea. You're going to be at home no matter what, so you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, good point. All right, guys, and if you're looking for further information on these games or any of the other ones on this college basketball slate for tonight, you know the drill. Make sure you stop by Winners and Winers and check it out. It is the #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis. Not even close. Not even close. So make sure you get your ass over there. Check out those. Check out all the information that you need. Maybe you want to learn a little bit more about Bellarmine. Well, that is certainly Bellarmine is certainly the team to check out over there at winnersandwiners.com. But that's going to do it for us. So for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Winers, we definitely hope all your hump day tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have been great. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe. And drop us a comment. Let us know what you're on. What you got cooked up for today on this kind of interesting day. So whatever it is, put it in there. And, yeah, we'd like to see what you got going on. And for this one, we're out of here, guys. So once again, appreciate you tuning in. And Scott and I, we will see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.